Welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm your host, Darrell Scott, and together we will dive into the lives and careers of the jazz legends who have left a rhythmic imprint on the world. Be prepared to reminisce on the highs and the lows of their musical journey and the trials that sculpted their timeless musical gems. We'll preserve the legacy of these extraordinary maestros and find inspiration in the melodies of their lives. Subscribe now and never miss a beat. Now, let's get to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm Darrell Scott. With us today is a trumpet player who has supported the likes of Dave Koz, Kirk Whalum, Najee, Candy Dulfer, and many, many more. The other thing is this, and Evan, I hope you don't mind. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, old guys like me hate you. That's all I'm going to say. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Evan Taylor, a trumpeter. We won't get on him because he went to school at Indiana and somehow got to Utah, but now is a world-class trumpet player. Evan, welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. How are you today?
Man, I'm doing well, man. I've been tired a little bit because I've been moving around quite a bit the last week, but God is good, man, and I'm blessed to be here. So thank you for having me on the show.
Not a problem,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Not a problem. How did your musical journey begin? Where did all this music stuff start from?
I came up kind of playing in church. I was a guitar player first, and that was like my first instrument was acoustic guitar, and I started at like a really young age because my grandpa was a minister. So like I kind of came up singing hymnals and stuff, and then like um, started playing guitar young. I wanted to be a drummer too. That was like I wanted to be a drummer and like play in a rock band and stuff. And then my mom was like, no, you're gonna do band class. I'm gonna make you do band class. So she kind of signed me up for a band program, and budget was tight. And so she was like, your uncle has a trumpet that you can use.
Hmm.
And they gave me this old dusty trumpet case, and that I had to like I was hanging my head so sad, like carrying it to school every day. Um, but that was kind of how it began, but with the trumpet. But yeah, I've always been a musician. I always played in church and stuff. I was even a worship director at my church for a little while, and kind of hopped around based on what instruments we needed on Sunday and stuff like that. So I was always playing.
So how many instruments do you play?
I play several. I produce too, so like I like play keys, play quite a bit of guitar still, and I play the bass, and I'll hop on drum kit if I have to or whatever. I arrange for strings, I arrange for band and orchestra. I've been working on my flute chops lately.
Wow.
I've been trying to get. I want to be like Najee, man, or Marcus Anderson. They always like pick up the flute. Sounds so good. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to sound like that.
Naj, you'll be here in a couple of weeks. So it is interesting that you have a wide variety of musical tastes, let's say, from an instrument standpoint. How do you focus in on just one to be the dominant one, but then you still play other things and help other people?
Sure. I mean, yeah, like with trumpet, I had I had a kind of a natural affinity for it at a young age, and I think it kind of the things that got me into jazz specifically was like I started listening to Miles Davis and I started listening to, Louis Armstrong and like, but Miles for me was like the sound that I always wanted to chase. Like, I remember listening to Bags Groove for the first time, that album, and hearing the song Origin. And that was like a song that like made me want to play trumpet.
Hmm.
Like there was something about Miles's solo and like the way he got in there that like really stuck with me and that made me want to play trumpet. And then when I heard the album The Sorcerer, I was like, oh man, this is like a whole different thing. So I started like really digging into jazz, and so I wanted to go study it. I wanted to figure out like what that was, or like what that sound even was. It didn't make sense to me. I was like, it just sounds like so many notes and there's so much going on, but I could tell I liked it. Um, I started studying with this guy back in 2014. His name is Etienne Charles.
Mm-hmm.
He's a trumpet player from Trinidad who has kind of like traveled around with his own project and stuff, Creole Soul and everything else. And he had a job teaching at Michigan State University. And so I went to this like summer camp, summer program, and studied with a bass player named Rodney Whitaker from Detroit. And their whole faculty was like super serious about jazz. Like
Mm-hmm.
they bebop straight ahead, a lot of like tunes and playing playing giant steps and everything else.
Wow.
And Etienne was my first like real trumpet teacher that like kind of dug in with me and like made me transcribe all these solos from Freddie Hubbard and Clifford Brown and stuff like that. And so that was kind of how I came up, and that trumpet became the focus. I never knew that I was going to be like a trumpet player. I always knew I liked music and I knew I liked jazz a lot. And I was like, I like playing multiple instruments, but Etienne like got me in the practice room and was like, no, sit down with this instrument and like really get in on this instrument.
So what is it about the trumpet that has attracted you to make it your main focus?
Uh, I think truthfully there was just like specific people
Mm-hmm.
that played the trumpet that like when I saw their vibe or heard them for the first time, I was like, oh man, that sound is like so like it stuck with me. Like, and that's why I brought up Miles Davis, because Miles, like when I listen to Miles, I feel like something that I don't feel when I listen to a lot of other artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was another trumpet player who passed away recently named Roy Hargrove,
Yeah.
who like Roy's music has always touched my soul. And then like I love Sean Jones, Ohio
Yep.
native,
Ohio.
up there, and I love listening to Sean. Sean is like an amazing trumpet player. I've had the pleasure of meeting him and hanging with him a few times. Chris Johnson is another guy who really like kind of paved the way for me. He's a trumpet player from Detroit who he came up in like the Marcus Belgrave and Dwight Adams camp, and then played with the Count Basie Jazz Orchestra. So there's like been this long lineage of like people who I feel like I've like hung out with or studied with, and like I don't know how I got attracted to the trumpet sound, but it's just like it was like a part of just learning what their sound was and wanting to kind of chase that sound. And it was always just this kind of goofy, fun thing for me. Like I was like, oh man, I love what we it's like got this vocal quality too. Trumpet has a vocal quality,
Right.
unlike a lot of other instruments. Like guitar to me can have a vocal quality depending on who plays it. But when you hear the trumpet, you know, the trumpet sounds like a voice. It sounds like somebody's talking to you. You can make it laugh, you can make it sing, you can you can do all kinds of things with it. So
So I am a Miles Davis fan, but I also understand that there are many different, I don't know what we want to call them, flavors, styles of Miles over the years.
absolutely.
So what is your favorite Miles Davis tune?
That's tricky. Man, I would say one that really sticks out to me is like during the cool jazz era, Boplicity.
Yes.
Oh man, that was like the first Miles transcription that I did. That was the first tune of his that I learned, and that one definitely stuck with me for a long time. But I love Bag's Groove and I love Airgen. But yeah, that Birth of the Cool era was like for me, like I think the smoothest sound that he ever had, and he was like onto something really special there.
But the birth of the cool, you should have been like 3 years old.
I was not even alive.
I was gonna say you got, so how did you pick up on that? That's not the right thing to say. Prior to, I'll say, birth. So is this something that you acquired, or all of a sudden you heard somebody play something from the birth of the cool, and then you decided to jump in the pool and swim with it?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember like the first time I heard this stuff. It's, you know, I feel like I was in high school. I mean, I was very fortunate that like my band program in high school, we had a jazz program. So like my band director was a really cool dude. His name was Ted Malt, sax player. He was a jazz kind of sax player, and like he was like pretty gung ho about jazz music. So he wanted to put everyone on to like different records and stuff. And so Ted would just bring in records and or he would like pull up videos or whatever, and he'd be like, yo, check this out, like listen to these people. And then so, I came up in a different era too. I think things are a lot more accessible
Right.
now than
Yes.
they've ever been. So like
Right.
you can wake up in the morning and grab this and like you can see 20 videos of Miles Davis right when you wake up. So like
Right.
now you're seeing this generation of kids who are just like they're 13, 14 years old and they're playing like Chick Corea and you're like, how does that even happen? Well, it's
Exactly.
like YouTube, man. Like for
Oh
real.
man.
It's
It's am-
crazy.
it's amazing how technology has changed everything. Um, so you do a lot of things. I mean, you produce you and everything. How when did that start? If you're writing music, when did you start writing music? When you started arranging for a bunch of different things, how did that start? And what made you want to do that? Why wouldn't you just stay in your lane, so to speak, and as I used to always say, perfect your craft with the trumpet? But I've watched a couple of things of yours. I've listened to a bunch of things, and I'm always amazed at how artists, I'll call it multitask. And when do you start the multitask? And how do you know when it's good? And how do you know whether or not you should call somebody and ask for help?
Okay, for sure. There's a few questions in there.
Yeah.
Where did I get started with the producing thing? Producing came to me later on. Like I started actually composing and stuff in college. That was the first time I ever like really sat down and like composed. I think I wrote songs in high school,
Hmm.
but they were trash. It was like I like it was like I would play guitar or play keys or whatever, and I would be like singing these melodies, and I would like I remember I used to like come upstairs with my guitar. When I lived at home, my room was in the basement. I lived in
Hmm.
the dungeon. I would come upstairs with my guitar into the kitchen with my guitar and like be like, Mom. All right, I came up with this thing. What do you think about this? And I would just play it for her and I'd sing it to her, and she would go, of course, she's like, oh, great, honey, that sounds really good. Don't quit your day job. Like, um, and so like I was writing, but like when I got into college and I was studying music, Etienne really was like, hey man, let's figure out how to. He would show me different compositions. He would show me like Oliver Nelson, and he would make me transcribe like full on arrangements of different stuff like that was layered and happening harmonically. Okay, now listen to the saxophone part. I want you to just listen to the saxophone part and transcribe the whole thing. Write it down on sheet, like on manuscript paper, and I would be like just like losing it, sitting at the piano, writing on manuscript paper. And but over time, my ears got better, my ears became more developed. And then it was 2017, I started studying with Chris Johnson. And Chris Johnson, like I said, he's a trumpet player from Detroit, but he's toured with the Count Basie Jazz Orchestra for a long
Hmm.
time. And when he was in the Count Basie Jazz Orchestra, he was their primary orchestrator and arranger.
Hmm.
So he was arranging these big band charts for the Basie band when they would be over in Germany and doing all their stuff. And he ended up being Grammy nominated like a few times. And so this dude, when I was doing school with him, like he took me under his wing and was like, come in my office, and like I would sit on the couch and just like watch him at his setup with his computer monitors and his keyboard over here, just like the setup that I have now. I would sit there and just absorb it like a sponge, all the time, watching him produce, watching him, use his digital audio workstation and his templates and stuff and everything that he was doing for Count Basie and um, all the projects that he would work on for film score as well, because he was a great film scoring artist, write music for TV shows and movies and documentaries and everything like that. And I would just sit behind him, just watching,
Hmm.
and asking questions. And then he would have me submit compositions to him.
Right.
And so by the time I got out of school, man, I was like equipped for anything. Like I was
Okay.
like, I could pretty much jump into any genre. Doesn't matter if it was like, country music or gospel or
Hmm.
R&B or soul music or funk or jazz or anything. Like I could literally jump in and just like go to town because I had all this music theory knowledge and and I knew how to work the programs. So
Okay. We're going to take a quick pause here, and what we're going to do is we're going to play some music that you and I guess his name is Jacob Dupree at the Sweetwater Sound.
oh shoot, okay, yeah, yeah.
We'll just play a little of this and we can come back and talk about it and several other things I have on my mind. Even that whole Netflix music for that, I'm just a novice. So here we go. Here is Evan Taylor and Jacob Dupree on the Jazz Flyte Podcast. That is Evan Taylor and Jacob Dupree on the Jazz Flyte Podcast. That guy in the other frame is Evan Taylor. I love this technology because I never know when my producer gets it, I never know if you're on the left side, the right side, above or below. So she told me to stop pointing. So that's the goal is to stop pointing. You it is what is your goal? Let me say that because you do so many things. What is the ultimate thing for you? Would it just be playing the trumpet? Would it be arranging? Would it be producing? Or are you going to be that corny one-stop shop where somebody can come to you and you basically start your own record label?
Man, I that's a great question. I think the my answer to that question is always just my goal is to keep God at the center of my life and figure out what he kind of has in store for me because that's really what's been guiding all of this over the years. Like
Hmm.
I don't think I would have gotten any of these opportunities had I not been kind of following and like working toward what I feel like is the vision that he has for my life. And I like he gave me the gift of music, this talent, this ability to be able to do all these things, to hear music in such a different way. Not everybody has the gift of being able to like have the ear for music or hear intonation or hear, rhythm and feel rhythm and stuff. So to me it's just a gift and it's like what can I do to serve. Like I want to serve communities. I always wanted to be a part of different education programs and like make sure that I'm giving back to people in the same way that I was given to. Because I had so many great teachers and mentors, people we already talked about on this podcast. So now it's like my job, I feel like it's my duty to like pass that knowledge forward to the next generation of people who are going to come do it.
So you've played with some very quality people. What are you learning from Kirk Whalum, Kaz, Najee, so forth and so on? Where are you taking from them and then applying to yourself?
It's a good question too. Well, each of those artists brings like a completely different thing to the table, I feel. Kirk has always been a huge inspiration to me. It was actually like it was like a mind-blowing thing for me to be on stage with him for the first time because I used to listen to gospel according to jazz
Yes,
like like routinely, man.
yes,
Like
yes.
every week I would like put that in my headphones and listen to it. And yeah, I used to listen to that song Rev that he wrote with George Duke.
Hmm.
And then Ananias and Sapphira. And I remember showing my dad that record for the first time. and my dad like cried. Like, and my dad he never really got like super emotional about music specifically, but like I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I showed him that record, he cried. And like, so my dad has since passed. He passed away in 2018. And so playing with Kirk for the first time was like a really, really special thing for me because like I felt connected to my dad when I played with him. And I
Mm-hmm.
also like love that Kirk, like one thing about Kirk is he's always going to give God the glory in every
Yes, he is.
set,
Right.
every single time. You
Yeah.
know, and he, even in sound check, man, like we stopped and prayed, and Kirk would pray in Spanish, and then, somebody would translate for him. So he would like set the precedent of like, okay, this is a spiritual thing. This is not about
Right. Yeah.
this is what connects all of us as humans. So we're here. Let's take a moment and like set everything else aside and make this a spiritual moment and then get into the music,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So that was really beautiful to me, and I love that. Najee, um, Najee blows my mind because of the way he's able to just like incorporate so many genres, and like his flute playing is off the hook, man.
Yes.
But he takes music so serious. Like I love Najee to death. He had invited me to play Impressions,
Mm-hmm.
the John Coltrane one,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of like put this backbeat flair on it, and I thought that was really cool. And um, it was very kind of him to kind of like let me jump in and be a part of his music. I wasn't expecting that because I was not actually a show that I was meant to be on. He just hit me up one day and was like, "Hey, do you want to play on my set?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely,
Right.
let's do
Right.
it." So very generous of him. Good Najee's a very generous person, and love his spirit and his energy. Man, Dave Koz I have to talk about because without Koz, man, Koz changed my whole world, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like for real. A couple years ago, before I had gotten invited to even come play the Dave Koz cruise, I knew a lot about Dave Koz because I had
Right.
seen videos of him for years. I had been watching him on television. I had been hearing his music on the radio, and so I knew a lot about him. Did I know that he was like, and I quote, the Michael Jordan of smooth jazz? I did not know that, man. His logo is everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
Like
It is.
everywhere. I have a backpack that has the Dave Koz logo on it, like he really is that guy. And
Yeah.
he changed my life, man. When we went out to Greece and did that whole tour, I met so many people. And the thing that blows my mind about Dave Koz is he sees people and he remembers people inside and out, no matter
Mm-hmm.
who it is. Because you know how we write people off.
Right. Yes.
We write, you meet somebody and you're like, okay, Charles, so nice to meet you, man. Like, and then unless they, maybe do something specific or say something specific that kind of piques your interest, oftentimes we kind of like are like, okay, that's Charles. And then the next time you see them a year or two later, you
Right.
see them again and you're like, remind me your name, like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of vibe. Dave will never do that, man. Dave remembers who that person is, what they do, where they're from, blah blah blah. And no exaggeration, man. He does it with everybody.
Yeah. Oh,
It doesn't matter who it is. And that kind of spirit is so special to me because it's like, man, we need to be more connected as human beings. And Dave is a direct representation of what that means.
yeah. It's funny. The names that you have mentioned, Najee will be on the show in a couple of weeks. Kirk Whalum and I have established a relationship. Where is it?
He texted me this morning, actually, Kirk.
Oh yeah.
Sent
Um,
me sent me a meme. I
I
was
sent
laughing.
so years and years ago. I'm in radio, and back then you could call the regional rep, and they'd set up interviews. So I got an interview with Kirk, and he autographed. I can't find it. He autographed a picture for me. So we're recording a podcast, and I said, "Hey, you remember this picture?" And he goes, "Where'd you get that from?" And I go, "You and I sat and you signed it." He goes, "Seriously?" I go, "Yes." And then on the show, he talks about I can't, it's energy or something. He goes, "You have a lot of energy, you have a lot of education, you've got a great spirit." He says, "Because you got a lot of gray hair." Like, okay, okay, I think. Um, and since then, I'll see him again in June. He's coming here as part of the Tri-C Jazz Fest. Um, we'll do what we can. But there's such a spirit in him. In doing this show and the people I've interviewed, I think I've created relationships. And there are different levels. There's different things we talk about. There's, trying to help with the music. I get the whole streaming thing. I get, but I understand the streaming thing. So I'm doing the best I can to get your music out there anyway, in any way, shape, or form. But some of you guys are just, I feel as though I've known you for 40 years and we spend 40 minutes together. And it's just funny. And I'm going to do this one more time. We're going to play something. You've got a new single out, Shining. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's right. Shining.
All right. This is what we're going to do. We're going to play it here on the Jazz Flyte Podcast. Evan Taylor, Shining on the Jazz Flyte Podcast. That's a nice tune. And that's your first release with the Adam Hawley label?
Yes, sir. That's my first release with MDF Entertainment. That's Adam Hawley's record label. He produced that track, did a phenomenal job with it.
What is the attraction? So prior to Adam, were you an independent or were you on a different label or what?
No, I was independent, and to be honest with you, I was playing fusion and playing hard bop and bebop and straight ahead all the time. And then Adam had called me, gave me a call and was like, "Hey man, I think it's time for you to get some original music, some more contemporary stuff out there." And it was coming off the Dave Koz cruise. I met him out in Greece with Koz. The first time I ever met Adam Hawley, we were in line boarding the boat in Athens, Greece. First time I ever met him. And got his phone number and found out we had a bunch of mutual connections, a lot of, relationships, friends that we had connected with over the years. So, so as soon as I got off the boat, he gave me a phone call and we started chatting about producing some music together.
Let's talk about this Dave Koz cruise. It's gone on for years. The roster of artists is incredible. I've been on a couple of cruises in my life. There's a whole lot of people. You meet one which turns into 10. And I'm a nobody. But then you're on there, they see you play, and I'm thinking the next day, you've had a good night's sleep, you're going to go downstairs and have breakfast. And you really can't have breakfast because there's 9,000 people around you. Great job, do this. They have all these questions. How do you function under that kind of pressure? It's almost like you're never alone once you're on the boat.
The fans and the people that show out for that cruise are really the kindest, most amazing people you ever meet in your life. And I've never seen it like, I used to sit with the cats on the boat and stuff, and we'd sit there for breakfast, but most of the time, man, like people would see you and they might just give you a nod and a smile, or they come over and they might have to say something real quick. But for the most part, they kind of are like, we're eating breakfast, you're eating breakfast, and they leave you alone because they get it. They understand. I mean, the people who come out on this ship, I mean, they're usually people who have done it a few times, right? And they've been around the block, so they know that we're also human beings and we have to sleep and eat and everything else. And but I will say there's one other thing, is that the accommodations as an artist on the Dave Koz cruise are pretty unbelievable. And so if you don't want to go downstairs for breakfast, you could just order that mug to your room and be sitting in your bed with a breakfast sandwich. And so if you need that kind of space, in the morning, Dave Koz accommodates it, and he really takes care of his crew, his musicians, and his artists.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
got to be so neat, so fun. Um, what was it like to meet the other musicians? I don't know if you knew them before you got on the ship, or that's really the first time you've met them. Are you having great conversations? Are you just sitting around kind of laughing and joking? Me, I never come off the balcony because watching water is one of the greatest things in the world. It is so calming and relaxing. So that's what I do
Mm.
a lot of. But how do you just walk up, introduce yourself and go?
Yeah, I mean, we have different events where it's easier to connect with people and chat with folks and stuff. We also, Eric Darius and Rebecca Jade, who are two dear friends of mine, we
Hmm.
host a little basketball, thing on the roof on the top deck of the boat. So we would go up there. I think we did it twice, like once a week. We do like actual pickup basketball game where like a bunch of people come. We try to invite as many people as want to come out there.
Right,
But a lot of the artists were showing up to that and stuff. So then it'd be like, you know, I remember Dennis Dudley just standing in the paint. Dude's like, you know, massive 6'5" dude just standing there in the paint.
right.
Like nobody can get past him. But Rebecca Jade was like a D1
Yes,
baller
yes.
too.
Re
So
Rebecca's
they
been
made
on the
me
show.
guard her.
Really?
They made me guard her. I was like, who do y'all think I am? I know I'm tall, but I'm not prepared for this. She can hoop, man.
Yeah, she
Oh my
can.
goodness, she can
Yeah,
hoop.
she's a great lady. She's one of the very first people we had on. I saw her at the Dave Cobb's Christmas show, and then and we talked, and it's funny. I got to stop telling stories. We You do these interviews, and let's say you're going to be at the grog shop, and
Hmm.
I walk in and I introduce myself, and it's like this was Adam Hawley. Darrell, you look different than you did on the camera. It's the same thing. Now, granted, I haven't shaved, but and that's the icebreaker with him. And Rebecca with the same show, I walk over and she screams my name, and I'm like, so all these people now turn and look, and I'm like, trust me, it was just an interview. That's all it was. And then you create these conversations. Some are a little standoffish, and I get it. I don't press people, but the people who have a reaction, you interact. I know that when Joe Albright and I have a standing lunch date whenever he comes to Cleveland, and it's just two guys talking, and that's what I appreciate about all of you. It's just like two guys talking. That's all it is.
Right.
Um, you found out Rebecca was a basketball player and she was very good, and there are a couple other things in her life. I hope to find out many other things. I asked Kirk about his brother. How's Kevin doing? What's going on?
Hmm.
And I think once I'll say, crash that barrier, it's like your family. They just have to remember you from whether it's Cleveland, Fresno, Detroit, or whatever. Speaking of Detroit and Michigan State, do you know a Randy Scott?
I have connected with Randy Scott, I think once, but I
Okay,
don't know him super personally, not like
okay,
that.
all right, because he's teaching at Michigan State, I
Where is
think.
he at nowadays? I haven't kept tabs on him. Let me
Uh,
look. But yeah, I
yeah,
know Randy.
Darrell Beebe. It's fun.
Mm-mm.
I think everybody should know everybody, but then you find out who knows who. All right, we could talk forever, but the thing is, the next time you're at the grog shop, let me know. Um, I will be there. I'll try to be in the
For
front row,
sure.
and I'll try not to embarrass you or make you. I'm gonna try to make you laugh. I'm gonna do that. I can tell you that's gonna happen right now. We look forward to hearing more from you. Making sure once your music comes out, please get it to us. We'll get it out on our social media. What else is coming up for you? Are you finishing the project, or is
Ooh,
there?
there's
Uh-oh.
a few things.
Okay, let me hear them.
We're working it out. So the two biggest things that are coming are one, Dave Koz cruise in June. We're going to Iceland. We're going to the Netherlands. The second, we're going on a full national tour with Dave
Oh,
Koz and the Summer Horns. So the Summer Horns tour is coming July, and I'm gonna be out. It's gonna be me, Marcus Anderson. Cat's not completely out of the bag yet, but
okay,
I'm letting you know right here. It's
okay.
me, Marcus Anderson, Leo P on baritone saxophone, Jeff Bradshaw on trombone,
Yes.
Dave Koz, and then also Marcel Anderson, Marcus's brother, is
Right.
going to be singing for us. It's called the Ultimate Summer Party.
Okay.
And so we're doing a full-blown national tour this year. And not all the venues have been announced yet, so I can't announce those, but
Not a
that's
problem.
going to be a blast, man. I'm talking hot horn section, crazy stuff. And
All right.
I'm also working on 2 new singles that will both be dropping this year.
Okay.
One is called Love's Intention, and the other one is called Swerve. And those, and Swerve, I'm featuring a very special saxophonist who I haven't disclosed anything yet. So once that starts getting off the ground, it should be around, September.
A great release date for that would be September 17th. That's a perfect date to release new music. It's my birthday.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's my birthday. How can our fans follow you? What's going on? How can we keep in touch, see what you're doing, so forth and so on?
Yeah, man, I'm on all the social medias. So,
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, MySpace.
If you're using MySpace, you're older than 28.
AOL Instant Messenger, you can get.
All right, man. We will, follow you, keep you abreast. Like I said, if you're at the Grog Shop, that Summer Horns 2 has been here to Cleveland 4 times. So maybe they'll come back here again, probably at a place called Kane Park. If that happens, hopefully we'll get an opportunity to meet, sit down, maybe have breakfast, make people laugh and things like that. Evan, I greatly appreciate it. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you and get a chance to talk to you. Best wishes. Keep the music coming. All right,
Oh
sir?
man, God bless you, man. Thank you so much for including me here, and I really appreciate the opportunity. So it's great to see you, great to connect with you, and I'll definitely be hitting you up next time I'm up in Cleveland.
Okay, so and also don't be shy. This is only the beginning. There might be, as I tell people, I reserve the right to be able to call you back in case something happens.
Man,
Okay?
hit me up, man. I'll send you my number right now too, so
Okay,
you
all
have
right.
it.
So let me tell everybody, this is the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm Darrell Scott. He's Evan Taylor. We do a lot of things here. We encourage people to listen because this guy's got new music. He's really talented. He's really young. It's almost like you could be my grandson. That's just bad. Um, if you like what we do, watch. If you really like what we do, subscribe. I look forward to it. If you need to get a hold of me, it's jazzflyte@gmail.com. Once again, Evan Taylor, thank you very much. We'll be listening, and keep listening to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I hope you enjoy these stories and soulful melodies that grew through the doors of time. If you want to stay connected with the latest updates and episodes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Until next time, I'm Darrell Scott.